weight. When the weight is released, this water will pour into here and go down onto the seesaw, which will release both the pulley for the barrels, which will release that wooden rod, and turn on the fan, which will push the boat towards the ball. The ball will roll and hit the next ball, and that ball will take that ball off of there and activate that pulley, which will start group 2.
Who speaks for group 2?
Okay, so I guess the same thing. When this pulley is going to pull our bucket and release the water into the trough, and then from this trough it travels down this system of little tippy ramps, and then fills up this bucket, which makes a pulley to release this marble down a little seesaw, and then the marbles kind of tap these little flipper things and travel upwards, and then it will release our bigger ball, which releases our pendulum, and our pendulum hits a MIDI cue. Surprises are in store, hopefully. And then the pendulum also knocks this ball, which will release these army men and this little plane. And then at the same time, we have the cars traveling down this ramp and this airplane, which go into a bucket, which lifts our hot air balloon, which releases our final ball, going down this ramp into the next group.
Okay, so the final ball goes into this domino of books, and one of the middle books is connected to this pair of lips, which is holding a can of SpaghettiOs, which is going to roll down to that other ramp and knock one of the 3 strings, releasing a slingshot behind the foam core plinko board, which will pull out the paper, releasing the ping pong balls under the baby faces. That goes through the class of 2017, through Susan Sue and the donkey. And thanks. Those balls collect in the purple bucket, allowing a door to open going into the Hard Rock Cafe guitar tube. While that's going on, this last book here is going to trigger the ketchup, steel, and Jif peanut butter down, bringing this structure up, pulling the pin out behind the T-square, knocking the lead-filled ping pong ball down the ramp, and that ramp is going to go into a bucket that's on a teeter-totter, releasing a nut that goes into another tube that hits a switch, turning on the hairdryer, and that usually works first, and then the balls go second. Those will together swing this pivot point, knocking a glue-filled ball, releasing a hammer, and making those 2 groups go.
Okay, I guess I go next. So this hammer knocks over this can and this big weight. Then it releases 2 balls for us. One of the balls rolls down this tube and turns on this hairdryer, which pushes a boat, and the boat drops a ball into a flat ramp. Then the other ball that was released first goes down into a bucket, which pulls a lever, which pushes a ball down a zigzag ramp, and hits a mousetrap, which knocks over books, which knocks over a giant stack of Red Bull cans, which pulls down the trapdoor, which and then the balls roll down out of that into a bucket, which pushes a lever up, which pushes another lever down, which releases a ball into another ramp, which rolls into a hole and allows the next group to keep going.
Alright, so when all this stuff triggers, this slingshot goes, which tosses this block into that panel, which sets a ball rolling down these ramps. The ball hits this figure and then drops down into this bucket, which triggers music. And this figure then rolls down. When she gets to the end, a pin pulls out, and the ball drops, or a ball drops down into the speaker. Then, because of music, it bounces out of it and triggers the twerk girl to fall, which releases this string, which releases Olivia off a bridge, which pulls this thumb tank thing out, which drops the Hot Wheels car down, triggering this ramp thing with balls that roll. And then the last ball rolls out hits a little pin that triggers this fishing line, which triggers that hammer, which knocks the ball forward into the next hammer, into the next hammer, which drops this magnet, which picks up the ball and drops into the bucket, which triggers the last ball that rolls down over the hole that has already been filled by the last group and triggers the next group.
Our group is triggered by that same ball rolling off the end of the ramp into a mousetrap that has two electrical contacts on it, so when the mousetrap closes, it makes a circuit, which causes a nitrile wire to heat up, which burns the repeating fishing line, which releases a cart to ride down a maglev track into a hydraulic syringe system, which pushes another syringe out of the end of the stiff wheelie to roll some balls down this ramp here. Some of the balls roll down through a hole in the ramp to trigger one half of this process that causes a ball to roll down another ramp, which moves up down this tube, down this other ramp into a hole that allows the balls that are triggered by the balls that didn't fall through the first hole to roll over them after it falls down this way and trigger the switch, which triggers this, but it also triggers this fan to blow this thing in a circle, which knocks this thing over, which knocks the red down monkey. This switch triggers this car battery charger to energize that coil ground circuit, which makes a magnetic field, which pulls that magnet, which pulls this lever, which knocks these things over, which stops that, which fires that pinball.
Okay, and so for the last step, when the paintball gun gets fired, it hits the target, knocking that little car thing down this entire ramp. It hits this, which is a pneumatic switch, which causes the drawbridge to open up. The balls roll out of either side of the drawbridge. One goes down and they start a parallel process. That one over there starts the pump, which starts filling that bucket with water. Then over here, the first one starts the Jacob's ladder and the fan, and the second one what's the second one?
No, the first one, that's the fan.
That's the fan.
The water.
No, the first one is the fan.
Really?
We have 3 switches that release the elevator. They all must be triggered for this thing to go. One fills with water, one does the Jacob's ladder, and one causes this fan to push this boat forward, knocking this ping pong ball into here. Once this gets up, it'll be in front of this fan. It'll blow all the ping pong balls out into this funnel, knocking a tiny little steel ball off there, which will fall in here, hit a MIDI button, and trigger the final sequence, which I'm not going to tell you about. If we get there, it'll be really cool. And as a side note, this steel ball is being triggered by ping pong balls, so it's very precariously perched, so please don't jump. Thank you.